And with that, I welcome you all to round 2 in Silverstone here in the Vanguard Racing Center, I believe this is called now, if I'm not mistaken. I always get this name wrong because it's just wait, that is not the name. VRT. There we go. That is the race director saying pit lane open as the first cars are going out. So camera switches to them now. Here we are. Ollie Moss, first one to come out. I am your commentator, Captain Foxy, for today's round here in VRT. I'll call this Vanguard for short. On the bottom left you see Racing Team is the full name. And, well, you see already every car already eager to get a hot lap here out for the track. Let's have some audio for the cars here. First we follow the car number 23 of Ollie Mobs, the first one to be out on track first. Following is Gibbs, and then right behind is one stopper. As I say, that's a McLaren off immediately in the gravel trap outside of, I believe that is Luffield. Here we are. Yes, that is Luffield. World stopper is just out of the track limits. Hopefully that is not too much issues on the tires or damage. But do you see this is speed here with the Formula Hybrids 2020? This is the equivalent of the 2020 Formula 1 cars, and the downforce on these cars, this was where the aerodynamics of Formula 1 really was at its highest, and this is going to show incredibly the weather as well, showing us proper British weather, as we see the sun barely showing itself. I was here live in 2024, and basically I can say this is how it looked like. All this grey, this was basically just a real life equivalent of Silverstone. But Ollie Mobs, first one to start his hot lap, right on his tail is a Gibbs, just behind by Ollie Mobs towards turn 1, nicely and flat through there. Then towards Village we go, turn 3, nicely done. That's a Renault going a bit wide there of Gibbs, but now towards Aintree, really fast through here. You need to be careful to not go over the track limits on the outside. The curbs are the track limits, not the white line, so you can abuse them a little bit. But now towards Brooklands we go, hard on the brakes. Nicely done, not getting too much on the inside to upset the car. And now very tight here through Luffield, but wide on the curb. You can ride that curb fully, but now we follow the 23 up towards Cobbs. Very famous this corner. A year after these cars, famous incident happening here, but nicely done. Ollie Mobs taking a flat round there, as these cars can easily take it. But now through Meggetts and Beckett, and look how nicely these cars can take it. Look, the downforce just kicking in and throwing the cars around like the cars don't even feel like it. But now through the hanger straight we go and towards Stowe. But now here this is the part of the track where you can easily abuse it and go over the track limits and get a invalidation. But Ollie Mob seems to be not having any issues through there. But now through Vale and Club we go to finish his lap. Mobs being the first one to set a banker lap in, and what will it be? Across the line, it's a 1:28.454, and Lamberson immediately beats that lap by half a second. Incredibly done there. Let me have another look at the track map here, so I can also have the track numbers, corner numbers, as we would also love to have a reference what corners we go through. Here we go. Next car to cross the line is, I believe that was Fenger there. No, going to the pit lane. This one stopper currently taking top of the leaderboards here in the McLaren 55. Nice from him. He has shown potential in many leagues out there, and today is a good chance for him to show one more time what passer he's made out of. But now he goes down the Wellington Straight, very more British, couldn't beat us that name. But now through Brooklands and Luffield, the building on the outside says it as well. Brooklands corner. This one stopper does not seem to be on a hot lap. Let's see who is improving currently. Max Fenger just did a after that pit lane lap, he did improve a little bit. Next car to be improving was Ollie Mobs. Until a mistake, but that's Max Fenger straight into the wall on the Wellington Straight. Sitting there sideways, the barrier there. That was a weird crash. Looked to be the rear is all loose, and oh, that car has no rear stability at all. That is temperatures going all over the place. Next car to be improving is the cars of Andy Park and Alexander Jiglov. First one to be going. Jiglov is the first. It's not the first one to cross. It's Andy Park. But Andy Park stops. I believe not having a good lap there. Yes, he's aborted his lap. Maybe to recharge a battery to start a new one. Jiglov is currently on a lap. Was green sector 1. Could be going green sector 2 as well. Charlie Lambertson as well. P5 has started another hot lap to green sector 2 by Alexander Jiglov. But he also stops. That looks to me, yes. Alexander Jiglov, that's his out lap there. 52 seconds. But Andy Park wasn't an out lap. So I was surprised by him slowing down. But he had a rather fast sector 2, which he aborted from. But let's go on board now with Charlie Lamberts. And pardon me for no audio on the car here. Is a problem with these cars as well. Let's go back out on the outside camera. Here we go. Let me also have a look. I believe the audio isn't loud enough. Let me have a quick fix there. Here we go. That is more like it. And we see a car is in the pit lane. Through there. Next car to be improving on his lap was Charlie Lambertson, who, while I was talking, actually improved up into P2, 6 times down to Isvan Stopper. The McLaren starting to have a little bit of heat behind, but 6 times still pretty far. Isvan Stopper's banker lap helped him a lot, and currently he's not improving on its lap, but this is an out lap currently, 44 seconds of outside the pit, so 21 seconds is around 21 to 24 once the first sector time. Let's see if Isvan Stopper starts a new lap. But Andy Park smashes the board and goes up into P2, putting Lambertson down into P3 with a 126.4. Only 4.9 tenths behind Isvan Stopper he is. That came out of nowhere. In the timing it looked to me yellow sectors. But Andy Park managed to bring that together. Next car who started up is Ollie Mobs up in P8 in the Red Bull. Going now up towards Cobbs. Turn number 9. The sweeping right hand. There's a Ferrari on the inside. Nicely done by them. Not getting in the way of the hot lapping cars. There. But now through Max and Beckett's 11, 12, 13 and 14. These corner numbers are pretty important to keep an eye out. In race briefing, it has been said, careful guys to not try to risk it too much going side by side to Cobbs, as of course a famous incident between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen showed us what can happen if two drivers are too eager into Cobbs. But of course these guys have some experience as well under that, but they might know when to bring. Last week in Austria we had some pretty intense fights where the drivers pushed each other to the absolute limit. But now Isvan Stopper is currently on a flyer. Purple sector 1, purple sector 2. About to go through yellow and now through, I believe this is club here, and across the line. Will he improve by another 2 tenths there? 125.7 by Isvan Stopper. Now, clipping the grass on the inside to nearly lose the rear end. That is intense. Max Fenger also improving currently in his lap. Only 7 tenths down on Isvan Stopper. This is good times. He could put himself up into P3 just ahead of his teammate, and who's setting that current P3 position. Isvan Stopper having done provisional pole so far. Sarah Mufetova also improved her lap to put herself into P4. Victor Buck in P9 also is currently improving on in hot lap. But Alexander Jiglov currently going through club and now through yell, now club, and across the line. Where will he put himself? He puts himself up into provisional P9. Next car to improve is Victor Backe in the Ferrari in the number 50, custom number on that car. Look, taking on the curb on the outside, hard on the brakes for club. for Yale, pardon me there. And now, oh, that is not the optimal line through there, but now for Yale, flat round there, and now across the line. Will Bucket improve his position? Does not improve position, but does improve lap time. And that is incredible by him. He puts himself a little bit closer but to the P10 car of Wenger, the Haas number 8 car. And did not put himself close enough to be a little bit of a threat. 9 minutes 50 remaining in the session. Still much to go. Crow currently improving and improves up into P2. 1:26.4. That is just about 6.7 tenths behind Isman Stopper. Isman being the only one who has gone under the 25 seconds. But Crow being our last week's race winner, the Mercedes, having had an amazing race, a battle against Andy Park, who he came out on top after a little mistake by Stopper last week. So will we see the Mercedes come up on top as well, or will we see the McLaren taking the top of the leaderboard today? But of course, quali can only say so much. Race pace is what the real deal is. And now Charlie in P4 has improved in Sector 2, not so much in Sector 1. But now going through Stowe, nice through there. Now through Yale, hard on brakes with the left-hander, taking as much on the inside, not trying to avoid that sausage curb as well. That looks like a good corner by the Haas. Where will he put himself? He looks to be improving still. And across the line, he improves and goes up into P2. Not yet under the 125s yet, but getting closer to Isman Stopper. Only 4 attempts now. The gaps do decrease so far. Purple Sector 2 by Lambertson there. That was a good lap by him. Sector 1 is where he lost the most time. If he manages to gain there, he could be a good threat to Isman Stopper ahead. But currently no driver is improving his lap. Jiggler so far being the one who is improving currently. Victor Bakke, as I said, Victor Bakke did improve so far on his lap. Sector 1, 6 attempts down to Stopper. This could put him in P3, but that did not look to me like a good corner through Luffield. But taking all the speeds out towards Cobbs. Flat round here. Look at that speedometer on the bottom right. A little bit of a lift through there. It looks really understeery. Now through Megas and back as a Ferrari goes. At the top of the screen we see him just go down like a waterfall. Oh, bit wide. Nearly goes onto the grass. He goes onto the grass but does not lose the car. Having to be careful not to go too aggressive. Ollie Mobbs makes a mistake and hits the wall out of Cobbs. Not great from him. He has pretty much good damage in the front, which is not appropriate. But there's a Haas also in front. That's Lamberson. Oh, but Victor Bakke decides to abort his lap. But Isman Stopper, currently again on the flyer. 15 hundredths up on his time. Only 5 thousandths lost on the second sector. So he's still 10 hundredths up on his time. Any tenth counts now. Any hundredths counts now.
That lap will not count.
That lap will not count. Set by race director. Look to me. Maybe a gone over the white line, but that was a good sector 1. If we can recreate that maybe for his next lap, that could be something to look forward to. This one Stopper does improve, but as we've been said, that lap time will not count, so we could see that time being deleted from the board by race direction for exceeding track limits. As I believe Lambertson did improve, if I'm not mistaken. It's still 1/10 out of the 126, but only just. Sarah Faitova improves her lap. 3 tenths down to Isman Stopper, but that still Isman with his track invalidation. So Sarah could be closer than ever. She could be the second driver to go under the 126s into the 125s towards Cobbs. So Alfa Romeo goes. There we go. She took that flat. Absolutely flying through there. Her setup allows it. Now through Megas and Beckett she goes. That looks to be like an optimal lines. That was spectacular lines through there. The confidence in that driving there. But loses 3 tenths to Isman Stopper. but improves on her lap time. So she is currently 9 tenths down if we add those together. Let's see where this goes. Yes, on my timing, that is a red sector 2. Yeah, she aborts her lap, but that was a good sector 1. She managed to bring it together. 5 minutes remaining in the session. About 2 hot laps if she manages, but not much time for many other drivers out there. Some drivers have started their out lap. Crow is on an out lap. Victor Bakke is on an out lap. Hopefully they can push themselves to limits we haven't seen yet, to maybe bring the gap closer to the drivers, as this is Stopper and Lamberson right now currently topping the leaderboards, but being still 4 tenths, I believe 3 tenths to each other. As we're now going, following Lamberson through Maggots and Beck. It's the Haas number 20, also custom number on his car. Some drive out real numbers, some have their own numbers. Look at my leaderboards. Currently no improvement so far. We see the Haas getting a bit of a tow by the teammates. Fanger right in front being a bit of a tow, but both go into the pit lane, locking up. We've heard in race briefing, the driver's has been told by the race direction, bind a pit limit button, as you need to be careful. If you're just a little too late and use the auto pit limit by the game, you could still be too fast on the spot and get a penalty there. So you need to be very careful through there. Ispen Stopper has gone out for a warm up lap, so this is a driver that we should keep an eye out. Maybe you can see Ispen Stopper get improving even more on their time as the track just goes more and more green. But I believe now we're on 100%. Current track temps being 20 degrees asphalt, 10 degrees air. Quite cold compared to last week where it was also I believe 15 to 25, if I'm not mistaken, around those temps. So it's colder today, so the tire pressures could be dropped down significantly. Just keep the temperatures up. This will stop a weaving to just keep the temps up. But while he is doing that, Sebastian Crow is currently flying on his lap. 1 tenth down in sector 2, Ispen Stopper 2 tenths down to Ispen Stopper in sector 2. He could theoretically get that P2 so far. That's a good corner through there. Is he going to keep it together? Half a second still up on his lap time. Across the line he goes and does improve. Fastest sector 3 to do a 1:26.0. Just barely missing the 1:25s. But that's amazing by Sebastian Crow, showing his pace, what he has as a race winner from round 1. But Ispen Stopper decided to say no thank you and does improve in sector 1 by 400. Out of the field we go towards Cobbs. Ispen Stopper absolutely losing no time on his final lap here. Flat through there, his speed goes not down. He stays above the 300 kilometers an hour through Cobbs. That's a one-off appearance. The other drivers who saw all dipped below the 300s, taking all the curbs. Ispen Stopper there, but no, I believe that's another invalidation by him, so he decides to slow down to charge the battery, maybe to look for another lap. Victor Bakke right now also on an out lap. Many drivers have as well. Andy Park, I believe, just started now his lap, so let's follow Andy Park through his lap, the driver who challenged the leader in Austria. Can he do it again today with Ispen Stopper? These drivers know each other from different leagues, so maybe the rivalry will go on here. This is always preferable to see by the commentators here. It's always interesting to see rivalry go on in different leagues. It's like saying Alonso and a different driver just getting into a different mode, but still the rivalry going on. So, Andy Park going through the field then. Bit of a wobbly rear end there. We have to think Andy Park is a controller driver, which is interesting, as he has so much control over their car. More than you would expect, but now through Maggots and Beckett's we go. No audio through here, but it's still interesting to see just the onboards of the car through there. But a little bit of understeer out of Beckett's onto the hanger straight we go, and that's now still He's half a second. He slows down. That is him. That was him, but he's slowing down through there. 15 seconds to the next lap. So, will we see something? Sebastian Crow makes a mistake. I believe this is before the field. Jiglov, mistake out of Beckett. He is still stopped there. Can we have a camera shot looking at him? Not quite as...
Start your last laps. No laps have to be started.
As the checkered flag comes out, last laps. This one stopper is currently on the flyer, but lost out too much in sector 2. Will he be able to improve it in sector 3? He is currently still provisional pole, but no, he abandons his lap, so picks up that. Sebastian Crow doesn't manage to improve, so stays at P2. Lamberson also doesn't improve, stays at P3. Andy Park is currently improving, but has taken a checkered flag, so he can't take this lap till the end. Sarah, 4 tenths up on her time. She is improving and hasn't taken a checkered flag, so will Sarah maybe jump up a little bit on the timing boards. Diego did improve, but then has abandoned his lap. Diego better in P6. Sarah taking all the slipstream from the Haas up in front. Is that Lamberson? That is not Lamberson, that is the other Haas of Fenger, who now goes to the pit lane. But Sarah decides to not finish her lap and abandons her, so takes P5. Diego better takes P6. Ollie mobs P7. Fenger P8. Zenwo Jiglov P9. Victor Bucket P10. Bob Norris P11. Patrick Gibbs P12. And Ray Spider takes P13. Well, Alex Hobbs up safety car. He really wanted to have an appearance today, so let me just have a honorable mention of him. Safety car here keeping the safety in the race. We had no safety car in Austria last week, so hopefully we can keep it this way for today. Here we go, him revving the engine, saying hello to the camera. But let's get on the car that took pole position today. Espen Stopper with a blistering 125.5, the only driver to have gone under the 125s. I believe this lap will still be taken away, so I believe it's a 125 677 that was the pole setting time, which is still the pole lap. So quali is over, set by race direction. So now comes the interesting part. To lap 1 is where the cars are always so close together. In last race, even though drivers were not on pace in qualifying, managed to have a good one in the start of the race. So in Silverstone, the first overtaking opportunity is into turn 3. So hopefully side by side through turn 1 we don't see incidents. Ollie Mobs absolutely speeding into the pit lane there, and into the wall he goes. It was quite a tough one to watch. So all our drivers are now in the pit lane. The order has been sorted through the qualifying session. So now for round 2 is the interesting part. Who is gonna have the best run into turn 3, but also who has the best run into the best opportunity into Bruxelles being the best opportunity after the long straight. We could see maybe some looks through there as well. We had 2 new teams as well joining for round 2. Sadly, no drivers yet there. This is for all the viewers watching. If you want to join the league, I believe the link will be then in the description after the stream. To the Discord, signing up is quite very easy, and there's still some spots open. So lots to be taken. Always welcome for new drivers. Now 18 seconds until the cars line up on the grid. Let's have an eye out again to our pole sitter, the McLaren. It's a nice livery, the 2021. Always one of my more favorite ones. It's just so vibrant, and good to see that McLaren took pole position today. Here we are. The cars are out on, I believe, there we go. Now they're out on track as a server. has a little bit of a hiccup. I can't see. There we go. The cars are now joining. One by one, each individual. There we go. That has taken. Here we go. The cars are out on the grid. So let's have a good look towards turn 1. I have made a slight mistake, so I have to quickly leave for the pit lane. I have to press this button over there. Last time I had this mistake, I accidentally left the race, which was not optimal at all. This time I heard an R from race direction there. I believe just an R. Can you hear us, race director? Alex?
Please remember to run 90 litres unless you're feeling lucky, then run 80.
So that is the fuel. No fuel.
88.
Refueling is not allowed, so 88 to 90 is the fuel we are looking for today. It's not long till the lights out, so not long till the drivers have to decide what to go. The temperature's raised 1 degree from qualifying to now. My steering wheel isn't centered, but that doesn't really matter, does it? As I believe I won't be driving. That is a warning that the race is about to start very soon here in Vanguard, powered by PHRL Faro Racing League. Here we go. Lights are off. And each individual one will be turning on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lights. And it's go, go, go here in Silverstone. And there's already some cars going into turn 1 side by side. 3 wide by the Mercedes, the McLaren and the Haas. But the McLaren goes first. The Alfa Romeo of Andy Park trying to move into P3. And he does manage. So there's a car off. That's, I believe, Alex Mobbs off into the grass there. And loses out a lot of time. There's a Renault of Gibbs as well. Stopper goes into the lead for turn after turn 1. Simon Fitoa losing a bit of spots as well. Following side by side with the AlphaTauri there. Nicely done to get the position back. Jiglov not making it easy for her. Up in front, the McLaren goes a bit defensive towards Cobbs. And the Ferrari and the Mercedes. And oh dear, there's so many cars going off the track limits. The car stopped, the drive's probably not being used with so much fuel in the car, and side by side nearly makes with a tower with Ray Spider. But she brings it back behind onto the medium compound, the C2, while the front drives on the C3, I believe the C2 compound being the hard common of tires, while the C4 being the softs. Will we see today's softs appearance? Maybe, maybe not, depending on what the driver's preferences are. But Ishwin Stopper does lead after lap 1. Is Sarah gonna have a look on the Mercedes? Here around Yale and then Club. Sarah lost the Sarah got the position on Ray Spider. I think Ray Spider has gone to the pit lane. He does. Did he get a drive-through, I wonder? So let's keep an eye on him so far. If he doesn't go into the pit lane, he might have gotten a drive-through penalty. He does look like it, but
DRS is enabled.
DRS enabled this lap, but Andy Park immediately at the rear end of Gisbrandt might have missed an overtake on there on Lambertson. I believe Lambertson has made a mistake. Gisbrandt Stopper and Andy Park. Andy Park being again fighting for the lead here after Austria round 1. Can he have it this time? We know he has the pace. Can he have the consistency this time? Last time was struggling a little bit with the car. Sarah last time also said a bit struggling with the car. This time seems to be a bit more comfortable. Following Crow under second, so she has the DS after making some backets. Behind Lamberson as well has the DS on the Renault of Diego Betta. So here we see them going through backets there on the bottom of the camera. So they are the closest cars on track. So will the Haas gonna have an opportunity? Isbrand and Park go side by side. Oh dear! Contact a little bit. They have touched slightly out of Stowe there. And now through Yale, the McLaren on the inside. And the Park tries it around the outside. And does he keep the grip? He does. And gets a position on the outside of Club's incredible. Goes for the inside. Goes for the wide. That is outside track. Mr. McLaren tries for the inside. Out the outside. Late on the brakes, Mr. McLaren, but he's going to try to switch back opportunity. The Mercedes behind catches as well. And now we're going up towards the straight. The Hangar straight. The Wellington straight, pardon me. Will the McLaren have a little bit, there's a bit of wobbling in the back. Sarah as well might have an opportunity there, but both FTS. Sarah goes for the inside, sticking her nose in. Side by side through Bruxelles and now through Love Field as she gets a position up into P3. In the back, we see also Ollie Mobs getting a position on Jiggler, but Jiggler on the inside gets it back. Is he going to get a good run? Not quite. The McLaren, the Red Bull gets a good run. Out of the field, keeps a grip while Jiggler, we're just struggling in that AlphaTauri. Goes wide again, so does the Red Bull. We might start to see some track limit warnings, as we only have 4, as we see on the right hand side above the track map. Only 4 before a penalty starts getting handed. But now the top 4 are so close together, under a second to each other, all of them. This one stopper, 1/2 a second, but goes deep into Yale, giving Sarah a good chance to catch up a lot. 3 tenths between the two. Towards the next lap we go, side by side towards turn 1. Sarah backs out now. Doesn't want to risk it for now. Sebastian Crow gets a good run too, as with that backing out, they are so smushed together. 2 tenths, 3 tenths between the Mercedes and Alfa Romeo, and 5 tenths between Alfa Romeo and the McLaren. The McLaren is out of the DS as well, so he won't have it, while the cars behind will. Who is gonna use that battery the most towards Bruxelles? Bruxelles? Pardon me, it is Bruxelles. Bruxelles is Spa. Pardon me, that's a big mistake from me. But not quite enough for the Alfa Romeo into Brooklands or the field. But now, through Cobb, she looks for the outside, not quite. Backs out for now. But now towards Meggett's and Beckett's. The Alfa Romeo in front is running away a little bit with this battle here. But Iswin Stopper managed to get back into the DS detection zone. Will he have it on the straight here? Yes, he does. And this will make them close up drastically towards Stowe we go. And a little bit of understeer into the corner. But Malfatora didn't manage to catch a lot. This 4-way barrier for the lead is going incredibly strong. This could go any way. This could go Alfa Romeo, this could go McLaren, or this could go Mercedes. Could we see a 1-2 by the Alfa Romeo drivers? Maybe the team radios are saying slow the McLaren down a little bit to give Sarah the chance. This could be possible. They could be planning something. The McLaren is currently in this Alfa Romeo sandwich so far, and he seems to be struggling as Crow spins out of the loop. And has to go for the runoff. 3 joints just ahead of Ollie Mobs. But that's now a 4-way battle down to 3-way battle. Who will be the next one to drop? Will there anyone to drop, or will this be the battle for the rest of the race? Alpha, McLaren Alpha, who is gonna get the crown here in Silverstone? Always a feat to win. Silverstone being one of the oldest racetracks. The oldest one on the F1 calendar. This was ever since 1950. It's the first ever F1 Grand Prix being here. After F1 became F1, of course, Formula 1 had some races before as well, being the Grand Prix races. Jiglov loses 2 positions, I believe, to Fenger and Bucket. That was a big jump in the leaderboards. That's an interesting one to see, but they are getting closer. Eastman Stopper getting closer to Andy Pamatsaro with the DS, just sticks behind like a fly. And now towards Yale. Vale. I kept saying Yale. I mean Vale. And now towards Club. On the exit. Andy Park just gets a good run out of there. Increases the gap by a little bit. While Sarah is still on the rear end of that. But the McLaren makes a huge mistake. Rear goes away, but managed to rejoin. But those tires are practically square now. And now it's the Alfa Romeo 1-2. Under the pressure, the McLaren didn't manage to bring it together. And now they have to look behind. Diego Betta right there, looking for that podium opportunity. Now towards Brooklands we go, and yeah, that McLaren seems to be struggling a little bit, but the hard couple of tires on the Diego better Renault could be a little bit of a bottleneck so far, but he could be looking for the softer component later on. Jiggler makes a mistake and leaves. Ray Spider speeding in the pit lane, 5 seconds. He was the one who told the drivers to bind a button. Interesting. Jiggler disqualification for disconnection, so he is out of this race. 1-2 Alfa Romeo so far after that mistake. Beta is right on the rear end of Stopper, and that looks to be a good run from Diego Beta out of Brooklands. Now with the DS opportunity, will he empty the battery? Up in front we see a driver switch. That looked to be on purpose of it. The Alfa Romeo slowed down a little bit. And now, oh dear, Diego Beta hard into the wall. Big incident. And Diego Beta disconnects from the race. After an incident like that, I believe he had bent suspension in the back. Something you don't want to see. Pardon that. The Renault there having a big mistake. So 2 drivers already retired from this race. Jiggler and Beta out. So now the drivers jump up in front. Andy Park just staying into the DS. I believe the teammates just playing a team game. Next driver, closest driver so far being the 1-2s of the Alfa Romeos and the Ferrari of Victor Becker on the rear end of the Haas. Half a second. We could maybe see some opportunities here with the DS as well. He is pretty close. Car number 50 closing in onto the car number 8. DS open now. Will we see something happening? Towards Brooklands we go. We just see the different line they take. The Haas goes for a wider approach, while the Ferrari goes fully for the curb. Then he looks to be more stable for the curb, but going wide goes the Haas there. We see just the Ferrari closing in ever so slightly, edging themselves closer towards Cops we go. Flat through here, but with that dirty air, I can't imagine that he had to lift off. He does lift off through Cops there, but you see the alternative flat. I believe he also has taken this to just decrease as much dirty air as possible. Will Victor have a run through here? We are on board now with the Haas towards a stall, and this looks to be the gap increase a little bit through Megats and Beckett's. The Haas has a little bit of a breathing space now, but the DS is still active between the two. The Ferrari still has a chance. A bit of a lock up front left by the Haas. Goes a bit deep and takes an awkward line through there, which gains good times for the Ferrari. He's right on the rear end now. Will we see an opportunity towards turns 3? The Ferrari following right there. Onto the braking zone we go. He does lift off a little bit. Stays behind for now. The Haas stays ahead. But the Ferrari could be looking for a DS move. DS very strong on these cars. The battery could also play a big move here. So following right there. The Ferrari just behind. Gaining, but not quite enough to have a look. But he's taking all the inside lines to just gain those small hundreds. Just to gain a bit more time as well. They're right on each other. And this could be an opportunity towards Cops. Will they do it side by side? Yes, they will. The Ferrari on the inside. Will he manage to do it? No contact. Clean from them. Still side by side. But no, the Ferrari backs out for Megats and Beckers. This is not a part of the track where you do want to go side by side. And losing out a little bit. Now Gibbs is in the battle as well. Making this a freeway fight for P6. Will we see something? Sarah goes for the fastest lap of the race. 1:29, 1:53. Incredible lap from her. She is just in front, dominating. Andy Park not keeping up at all. 3.3 seconds already. But let's keep our eyes on this battle. The Haas goes wide. The Ferrari is in the middle. The Renault's looking for the inside. Side by side. Off goes the Ferrari. Rejoice just next to the Renault. But not quite enough. Taking the inside. Gibbs lifts a little bit through turns 1. And the Haas runs away a little bit to just gain a little bit of time. But goes wide. Off he goes. The Ferrari goes in front. The Renault has a chance for the outside. So the Haas is in position. Back he goes into P6. The Renault now with the chance towards Brooklands. Will he have a look on the inside? He does. But backs out. Goes a bit wider to have a better exit, probably out of the left field corner. Loses a bit of your end as the Haas. Contact! And sideways goes the Haas. And Gibbs gets a position, but that will be frowned upon by the stewards. That will be have a look then. And out of this battle, the Ferrari comes victorious. 1.5 seconds up front. And that was for half a lap an incredible battle. Andy Park has caught a little bit too Sarah, but just as we look on him, he loses a little bit of the rear end out of Vale towards clubs. I believe there's been the race director has a little talk with the driver as this one stopper is again in the DS zone. This one gaining a little bit of time on Andy Park. Andy Park seems to be struggling a little bit with that car. I must be wrong. I must have been wrong at the beginning. 10 laps down, 20 to go. And this race is just approaching its peak. As the McLaren gains on the inside, incredible, aggressive on the brakes, as side by side through the field. Who is going to have the better traction? The Alfa Romeo on the inside might have a little bit more, but loses a bit on the exit. So it's the McLaren run on the rear end. Will we see it the second time? Its cars going side by side through Cobbs. Gaining the ES, a little bit of a lag spike from Andy Park. So making Isband go twitching on the outside and lifting a little bit through the corner. But that is incredible. So now the McLaren slows down to behind the Alfa Romeo. While behind, the winner of Patrick Gibbs had a little bit of a moment with the Haas of Fenger, having to now stay behind the Ferrari. Believe a little front wing damage on that car as well. Hopefully not too much to be messing around with. This one stopper half a second to Andy Park. And they are just gaining. Oh, this one stopper goes under curb, under the sausage curb, losing a little bit of time. That is 3 attempts lost, with just a bit of an opportunistic line through that through Vale. While Gibbs just stays in the S to gain as much time as possible. Of course, the batteries after that battle could be drained lots, but it does not look to me that the Renault lost too much time through there. He even gained out of Stowe. It's about half a second to the Ferrari, and this is a good setup to have an opportunity on to the Wellington Straight. Up ahead, this one stopper with the Wellington Straight TS zone has gained a few tenths now onto Andy Park. Only 3 tenths. This is not close enough for a look through Cobbs, but we don't know if they're gonna drop their battery now. But no, it looks to me not so far. Following towards there. Here we are on board with the McLaren. Still issues with the helmet, so that is not the correct helmet in the car. It's been stopper following. Park has some issues through, makes it back a bit wobbly through there, and it did not lose him too much. But anyway, behind the Mercedes of Crow again, issues, spun round. I believe that was Beckett's we saw, and now rejoins just before the hangar straight. Is he standing still? Where is the? He's gone now through Beckett's there. I believe that was through Stowe the mistake. This one stopper is just following the Alfa Romeo of Andy Park. But the Mercedes lost a position to the Red Bull. So the Red Bull of Ollie Mobbs up into P4. Gaining the taking the advantage of the mistake from the Mercedes. As here we see the opportunity now. Isband stopper on the outside of turns 3. Now towards turns 4. Isband has a bit of an awkward line. Andy Park could have a good shot onto the Wellington Straight. Yes, open now from the Alfa Romeo. And here's the battery in the back. There was also an overtake side by side and towards Brooklyn's. The Alfa Romeo goes very deep and side by side through the field now. And we saw the inside line is open, but the Alfa Romeo slides into the McLaren. A bit of contact through there. Doesn't upset none of the cars, but that increases a bit of drag damage. But this one stopper is not done yet. Goes for the inside through Cobbs. Oh, dear. The McLaren slows down lots to give the room for the Alfa Romeo, and he gets this move. Whereas the Ferrari, as we see some first pit stops, the Ferrari of Victor Bakke goes for it onto the hard carbon of tires. So does Patrick Gibbs. When will the drivers in front go for the pits? That is an interesting tactic here. As of course, these two are absolutely using the tire wear for this battle. This one stopper again being the car behind, having a good look out into turn 3, and with Brooklands and LaField had a good chance, but Andy Park's slide has impacted them a little bit. Well, just in front, I have to say, Sarah Moffato was running a pretty quiet race, as she was hoping for. I had a little talk with her before, and it looks to me that her wishes of this race are coming true, while in the back, her teammate Andy Park is stalling Stopper as much as he can. Stopper, of course, was the fastest in qualifying with that blistering pole position. Doesn't seem to be able to put this together in the race. As we see, Sebastian Crow goes for the overtake on Norris after that pit stop of his. Norris goes for the pit lane. So Victor as well leaves the Haas ahead. They was, I believe, a switch a little bit there. That looks to be lifting to let them by. Now towards Vale with a Ferrari. Have a little bit of a look here for P9 overall. But up ahead, something has happened. This stop has gone up into P2, but now dropped down to P3. I believe that's just a timing boost. I didn't see an overtake on track. So that is a bit of an issue through there. The Haas of Lamberson closing in onto the Red Bull of Mobs. They have pitted as well. So the only drivers who haven't pitted, as I said, is the Sarah, Andy Park, and Iswin Stopper in the top 3. But now that Sarah is in, she is the first one. Andy Park and Iswin Stopper follow in closely. So now let's hop onto this battle here, pit lane battle. But wait, hold on, the Haas off the Red Bull. The Haas Canes on the Red Bull towards Brooklands. Meggett and Beckett, pardon me, towards Meggett and Beckett. The Red Bull seems to be struggling a little bit in the hard combat of tires. Iswin Stopper seems to be gaining the time in the pit lane, not having lost it there. But onto the hanger straight, yes, onto the Haas, onto the inside, he goes towards Stowe and gets in position before the corner starts. Will the Red Bull be able to retaliate? Doesn't seem so far. Flashing off the lights behind, meaning that the battery is charging. Now through Vale, the Haas did a good move, but goes a bit wide out of Vale towards Club, and that's a good time gain for the Red Bull behind. And that is, we see the difference in speed while the battery is drained. Also up ahead, Andy Park is still 3/10 behind the McLaren, but now it's cold tires. Andy Park side by side through Brooklands. Goes for it now, doesn't go deep this time, not leaving any space for the McLaren. Behind, Stopper needs to follow through and goes just behind, loses about 4/10 through LaField with the dirtier and cold compound of tires. That is not preferably for them. But let's go back onto the battle with the Haas and the Red Bull. Towards Cops we go. Following behind the number 23 versus the number 20. 23 on the Red Bull, 20 on the Haas. 4/10 between them. Iswin Stopper, I believe, made a mistake. Yes, he's done a mistake. He is off Beckett and drops down 5 seconds to Andy Park, and that's that battle over for now. Half the race length is already under their belt, so let's see where the next half of the race will bring them. Still so much time to go. Interesting to see. Maybe we see some other mistakes as Ollie Mobs loses out a little bit to Lamberson out of the DS zone. 1.1 seconds now. And that is not good at all. But as a big heartache for Iswin Stopper with that little mistake of his through there, losing him good amounts of time. But now Ollie Mobs just following behind on the Haas, but it seems to be the hard coming of time is not suiting that Red Bull at all. He seems to be struggling quite a bit. Well, up in front, Sarah I cannot say the same for her. She is still gaining good amounts of time to Andy Park. A second gained last lap. She is blistering out there. Absolutely total domination. Well, behind, Iswin Stopper with that little mistake is out of the battle for to ruin the 1-2 opportunity of the Alfa Romeos. But now that the McLaren is out of the picture for them, it's a clear 1-2 so far. Will this keep going till the end? We have to find out.
The Andy and Ice Spring incident will be noted.
As we see, the incident, as we hear, the incident between the McLaren and the Alfa Romeo of Andy Parker and Ismail Stopper will be noted by race direction. So we might see after the race some decisions later. As that is an interesting. As fastest lap by Andy Park, 1:29.0. He has picked up the pace, but I believe has done also a fastest lap there, but not lost. There, but the fastest lap overall so far goes to Sebastian Crow, 1:28.4. I believe he has just done that lap there. That lap was blistering. He is gaining onto the Red Bull. Hit that Mercedes, that hard compound really helping him lots. That Mercedes feels very comfortable on that hard compound of tires, and it shows with that fastest lap. That's 6/10 faster than what Ismail Stopper has done, but I've just seen, yes, it was Sarah who has taken the fastest lap, 1:28.2, 2/10 faster than Mercedes, which isn't a lot, as Mercedes seems to have lots of pace right on the rear end towards Cops. Mercedes and Red Bull through Cops, that gives some moments, some flashbacks, as I believe you're starting to see some sparks going in. I believe there was rain on the curbs, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully not yet. The track temps still are up. The Ferrari, not Ferrari, Red Bull goes defensive for the outside, not defensive on the second part of the straight. The Mercedes goes for the inside and gets a position down on Stowe. Will the Red Bull be able to retaliate? Not quite. Sebastian Crow picks up his pace. He knows he is one of the fastest drivers out there. Knows he can bring it together. And after that side mistake he's done before and losing him that four-way battle between him, Sarah, Park and Stopper, he now has to gain all that time back. Now towards turns 3. His eyes are now set out through the Haas in front. 1.1 seconds to them. Will the Mercedes be able to gain? Will he be able to have a good shot? He just gained 1:10 through just 2 corners. He's looking set to gain more time through Brooklands. We go. And the Mercedes gains another time under braking, gaining 2 tenths, but now through the field. He is now 8 tenths behind the Haas. Crow absolutely showing dominance in that Mercedes. Once again, Ismail Stopper in the wall. Ismail Stopper's off in Cops, careful to rejoin. Manages to rejoin just behind the Red Bull, but that's big damage on that car. I saw no front end, so Crow is now fighting for the podium position. Will Ismail Stopper mistake cost him a good position, and he might lose more. He might have to go for a pit stop. Another mistake. Ismail Stopper disconnects and is disqualified. As that happens, Mercedes goes to the inside of Stowe and gets a position into P3. A carbon copy of what he's done last lap on the Red Bull. And now he's up into the podium position. And with Isbrand disconnected, that's the 3rd DNF of the race. With the track being a tricky one, and the car's tough to just to win over. And it shows that it's not quite easy for any of the drivers. If one of our top drivers has issues as well, it is an interesting one. But can the Haas of Lamberson stay on the Mercedes after Crow overtook the last lap? They seem to be just staying behind a little bit. That DS helping massively. Now through this part where there's no DS zone, the Mercedes goes and flies away. But we have to also think of the dirty the Haas had to experience once the overtake happened. And losing out, he's out of the DS zone. Will he be able to go through the activation zone? Not quite. He was out of it. Went onto the DX activation zone, but he was underneath between them. But again, goes out of Brooklands. He's not in the DS zone. There we go. Here doesn't have that DS. Mercedes gains just that little bit of time to put himself out of that puffer for the DS and give him a bit of a cushion to the cars behind. And with just 11 laps to go, Sarah Mufetova leads into lap 19 as Andy Park, her teammate, in P2. In third, we have Sebastian Crow just fending off the Haas behind. Losing out is the Haas of Lamberson, but Ollie Mobs was behind there as well, but has lost 3 seconds to the cars in front. Patrick Gibbs in a Renault in P6 and Victor Bach in the Ferrari in P7. Max Fenger in the Haas in P8 and Ray Spider, the second Mercedes, down in P9 after a little bit of a bad race start. Bob Norris in the Williams, rounding up our top 10 here into lap 19. So, big things have happened. It's an interesting race so far. Now we've calmed down to the calmer part of the race, and now it's more strategy. How much you want to use your tires for the last couple of laps. The hard compounds can survive a little bit of punching, but with Cobbs being basically flat, the less fuel is in the car, and Megs and Beckers being fast sweeping corners, the tires can lose lots of lap amount of grip. And now the question is, will the drivers still push? The lap times are dropping, going up a little bit, while Sebastian Crow being the only driver who's full on push. Last lap being a 1:28.4, while his fastest was a 1:28.0, and I believe that is the fastest lap of the race. That is it, and I believe he's done that about 2 laps ago. But we also have to think, he's on 2 lap older tires than the cars up in front. His pace is not dropping at all. That's an interesting one. He's 10 seconds behind Andy Park. Keeping an eye out on that. While I say that, Andy Park gains on his lap. He is purple sector 1. Getting those temperatures in on those tires is really crucial with the hard compounds of tires. Once those are in, you're basically back in the green and in the clear. And it looks to me that the cars are not struggling too much with the harder compounds. And as the race goes on, these tires might easily make it till the end, but depends on how you drive. We also need to keep in consideration track limits. Those can also shuffle the grid a little bit, as Lamberson still loses out a little bit of time through the Mercedes. Sadly, 2.9 seconds entering Cobbs, and now 3 seconds as the Mercedes enters Megas and Beckett. The Mercedes having a good catch-up race after his mistake in the about lap 10, where he just sadly spun out in Meggett, or before Meggett, I believe it was, getting him out of that fight. But he goes off of Stowe and gets probably a cut warning there. Not many you can take. He is absolutely trying to push as hard as to gain on the cars in front, while Andy Park was pushing a little bit on the last lap. Went purple sector 1, did a green sector 2, but then lost out a little bit, going for 1:28.5. And while Andy Park's last lap was 1:28.5, Sebastian Crow did a 1:29.6, about 1.1 seconds slower than the number 7 Alfa Romeo in front. While Sarah is running a comfortable 1:28.1, beating the drivers behind lap time. I believe she isn't still pushing. She has no reason to push, I have to say. 13 seconds to the car behind. She needs to be careful to not do a crucial mistake. Ollie Mobs goes into the pit lane for a second round of pit stop. That's his first. That's the second pit stop. Then on the outside, the Ferrari trying its hardest to get the position on Ollie Mobs. Not quite. The medium compound of tires still need to get a little temperature out of the pit lane. But will the Ferrari have a chance? No, he slows down. He had a big slowdown moment, I believe, to not get a cut warning. That is the one thing that comes to mind now. But that gives a good chance for the Haas behind to have a look on the Ferrari. 4 attempts. And I believe the Ferrari had a little bit of a scramble with the Red Bull after looking ahead. Now he has to look behind. Through Cops we go. Following is the Haas of Fenger, but goes wide. He takes the cut warning. Looks to me he still has some left to spare. But now through Megas and Beckers we go. Taking a bit of an alternative line is the Haas to just avoid it as much dirty as possible. And now onto the hanger, not hanger straight. That is the hanger straight. Pardon me. The Ferrari tries to have a look on the inside to defend the inside, while the Haas goes for the outside. Nicely done, getting the position down before the corner even starts with the DS. Nice and strong. That just shows the power, how much Diaz can help for an overtake, and now he needs to just look to run away and get out of the DRS zone, to not being snagged back onto the next straight. He is already good seconds ahead. I believe that he is 7/10 ahead of Bucket there. The Ferrari still being in the DS zone, but he needs to be, the Haas needs to be careful not to do too much of a mistake. He has, as I say it, loses 6/10, 7/10 through Village, which is incredible. That came out of nowhere. Did he go deep, or what has happened with the Haas there? The Ferrari gaining time towards Brooklands and now Lafayette, and not enough to have a look for the X of the corner, but still 2/10. He is right on the end. Will he drop his empty his battery to have a look already in Cops? Not quite, stays behind. And towards now Maggots and Beckett we go, and this we need to now see what the Ferrari thinks. Yes, they have to also look behind us. They have the lap car of Bob Norris behind, just gaining the advantage here, but Victor Bucket takes an awkward line through there, losing him good amount of time. He stays in the DS zone, so he can gain a little bit back and rebound after that little mistake through Beckett. But he's only 8/10, so that's not enough to maybe have a look through the final couple corners for him. As Crow, look at the timings. Crow gained 2 seconds to Andy Park, and the chances for him to have a battle for P2 in the end of the race is not out of the picture yet. The Ferrari tries to be a bit aggressive on the exit. Lamberson gets overtaken by Gibbs. Had a count warning, probably having to take that slow down as the Renault goes into P4. Let's go back onto the battle of the Haas and the Ferrari. Now towards the Wellington Straight we go. DRS open, battery draining. On the inside he looks for Brooklands. His nose is not there yet, but the space was there for a little bit. He didn't quite take it, not taking any risks, as we like to see. With laps going down, we might see the risk factor going up on what the drivers might or might not do. Towards Cops we go, and the Ferrari just stays in this limbo behind the Haas driver. Half a second this time. Let's see how the Ferrari takes Maggots and Beckett. We also have to think the Williams behind. After saying this long behind, he is allowed to maybe unlap himself if he doesn't do it in a dangerous manner. But it looks to me he does not. He was looking for the outside line, but he's not activating his DS. Not wanting to make it tough for the Ferrari. But the Ferrari having issues through Maggots and Beckett every time, losing crucial amount of time there on the Haas. While up in front, Crow gained 2 whole seconds to the car in front, and that is the chances for a battle between Andy Park and Sebastian Crow increasing. 5.8 seconds now is Andy Park. Last lap was also a lap that is not wanting to be seen. 1:32.1, while Sebastian Crow did 1:29.2. Patrick Gibbs has a bit of a contact with Charlie Lamberson. Out of, I believe here we are, out of Lafayette. I believe there was a little bit of outside contact inside for the Renault, outside for the Haas, and Patrick Gibbs gives out a little bit to the battle for P4, while Sebastian Crow, driver to keep an eye out, gains crucial amounts of time to Andy Park. Andy Park cannot keep their car together. Last lap 1:31.1, while Sebastian Crow 1:28.9. That is huge. And with a different camera, we might even see the Alfa Romeo pop into the screen. And Andy Park needs to start to have a look on his pace. He could have one of two things. Maybe he's doing this to save his tires for the end of the race, what I've said before. Or Andy Park just cannot get used to the hard compounds of tire. Sebastian Crow, the Mercedes, has the opportunity to break up the 1-2 Alfa Romeo. The dream. The Italian team could have the dream to get 1-2. But Andy Park, it really seems that he struggles even losing lots amount of time to their teammate. Sarah Mufetova just ahead. 20 seconds. That is incredible driving. Victor Bakker gets a position on Fanger because Fanger lost the rear out of turns 4, or out of the loop. Not quite where you want to have a mistake. Sad to say that battle is over, but Bakker goes up into P7. Here we see the battle side by side. Two Megats and Beckett's very close together. The Renault Red Bull goes up in front again. The Renault follows quite closely. And now out of Beckett's, Patrick Gibbs loses out a little bit because of the dirty air, which is very understandable. Ollie Mobs also has the advantage of the fresher and softer tire. And this is where the Red Bull comes to shine. I believe it was a slight mistake through Lafield, where the Red Bull lost immense amounts of times. Patrick Gibbs still in the air zone, something to look out for. We need to have an eye on the gaps. I also keeping an eye on the gaps to the Mercedes and the Alfa Romeo in front. Charlie Lamberson has gone purple sector 2 out of nowhere. I believe help from DS from I believe a backmarker. Max Wenger goes into the pit lane, I believe, to go for fresh compounds of tires after that mistake. Now we see the Renault has a good chance. He is only 1 second, but with the DS gains good amounts of times back. Let's have a look back onto the Mercedes. How much he is gaining. Not quite enough this time. Andy Park, this lap, might have a better lap. Let's see what he does when he crosses the line. So Andy Park crosses the line now. Does a 1:28.8. Getting back his pace. While Sebastian Kroger goes a 1:29.4. Losing 6/10 on the Alfa Romeo. So Andy Park has put the pedal back up to 100. Has put the boosters back on for the final 4 laps of the race. We need to see who gets the final lap. Sebastian Kroll has absolutely pushing his Mercedes to the absolute limit, while Andy Park has just been focusing to keep the car in one place, facing the right way and just bringing it home. But I believe he understood now as well that if he keeps this up, he could be in danger of his P2. And I believe the Alfa Romeo teammates do want a 1-2. Of course, that is quite the perfect picture, as we see the Haas behind. The first time we see the soft compounds in a race scenario going wide out of a corner where you don't really expect cars to go wide out of Woodcote, I believe that is what's pronounced. It's a flat out corner. I believe he just wasn't steering enough, getting used to the tires, and gone a bit wide, but didn't look to me he got a penalty for track limits yet. Simon Fettori has already entered lap 27, while Andy Park is still in lap 26. The gap between the Alfa Romeo and the Mercedes is going up, but the Mercedes, in a shocking surprise, goes into the pit lane. I believe he's going for the fastest lap to gain the advantage on the leaderboard in the standings to Andy Park after last race's battle, where Crow managed to get the win and Park got second after Ollie Mobs got a penalty after I believe was safety car, a full course yellow infringement. So now Crow and Park are looking to have this is a championship battle between these two. So Sebastian Crow is going for the safer route, goes for the fastest lap. He had enough time onto the Haas behind. Still a big puffer, but with those soft compounds and with basically no fuel in the car left, Sebastian Crow could be looking to get a really good lap in to secure the fastest lap point, as currently the driver who has it is Sebastian Crow currently holding the fastest lap, but I believe he just wants to keep have it safely under the grass. But in a surprise turn of events, Sarah Mufetova goes for the same strategy to also go for the fastest lap. So now the biggest battle is who is gonna get that fastest lap point. Andy Park goes into the lead. Will there be some team play afterwards? Sarah loses her lead but goes onto the medium compound of tire, which is a shock. A shock after another. She goes onto the medium compounds with her pit stop, also loses the lead, and I don't think she has enough time to gain to Andy Park, and Andy Park is now our leader of the race in the final 2 laps of the race. And will Sarah have enough pace to gain the time? Will there be some team play happen? Lamberson, go, fastest lap of the race, 1:27.9. With the hard compounds of tires, a driver we didn't think who might take the fastest lap so far has absolutely smashed the 27s and is now the only driver in race scenario to go under the 27. But I believe Crow and Sarah aren't far from it, and Andy Park is also not out of that chance as well. Sarah gained 1 second here in this lap on her out lap out of the pit lane. Andy Park is 4.7, 3.6. He's slowing down. Andy Park is slowing down, so there will be some team play here. Will he help her with the slipstream to just secure that fastest lap? As we know, Sebastian Crow is looking for that same thing. He goes through.
Last lap has officially started.
He goes through the Maggots and Beckett's final lap has started. Sarah goes into the lead. Andy Park gives it to her. Some team play happening here. Who is going for the fastest lap? And now the fight is on into the final lap. This is basically a qualifying scenario here. Sarah could take it, Crow could take it, or out of complete shock, the Hearts of Lamberson could take it. There we go, Sebastian Crow, 1:27.1, completes his fastest lap. But eyes on Sarah. Purple sector 1 goes through towards Cops. This is basically flat through here with those compounds. And will she do the unthinkable? Sebastian Crow improves on his lap but does not go purple. The sector 2 line is just after Beckett's. Let's see where Sarah is. She has been on a flying dominant this race. Green sector 2, not quite the fastest. But now towards Stowe. The Alfa Romeo heading for the win. But will she also go for the fastest lap? Towards Vale. Final time. Takes us corners beautifully. And now through Club. For the final time on the final corner. Sarah Wolfetover wins the Silverstone Grand Prix. The British Grand Prix. It takes the fastest lap. 1:26.9. Incredible.
Race has ended. Race has ended.
Beautifully done, Sarah Wolfetover. First win of the season. Round 2 gets not only the win but also fastest lap. But Alfa Romeo comes out on top. 1-2. Incredible. This is something that I haven't seen. That I haven't been thinking of. Crow crosses the line to get P3. Didn't manage to get the fastest lap. And Alfa Romeo has definitely jumped up the standings with this race here. Lamberson crosses the line for P4. Ollie Moves for P5. Patrick Gibbs for P6. Ray Spider and Victor Bakker are fighting here for P7. Will there be something happening here between the two? We see the Ferrari just ahead. Goes deep. The Mercedes has a shot, has a chance, one slim chance, doesn't quite manage. Victor Bakker across the line for P7 and Ray Spider for P8, but gets 5 seconds added to his final time for a penalty that we've missed out on. Max Fenger for across the line for P9 and Bob Norris for P10. And Sarah Wolfetover is our race winner here in Silverstone round 2. Andy Park completes a 1-2 for Alfa Romeo, and this is an event that I wasn't even aware could have happened after the qualifying session we saw. Sebastian Crow completes the podium in that Mercedes, and a huge fight here. And this was a race weekend to remember for many of our drivers, but also to forget for the 3 drivers who have who have been disqualified for disconnect. Beautifully done, very beautiful. But now I believe we have some time for a little bit of few interviews. Asking who wants to be dragged.
User joined your channel.
As there we go. We see some drivers. Will some drivers already be going for the interviews? Let's have this picture going here, so we don't have to look at the pit lane the whole time. So, who will be taking? Who will be the first driver to be interviewed here? As we see, Ray Spider has taken a picture of his used tires. His hards were absolutely used fully. So he barely made it on that hard compound, where it could have just gone either way, but he managed to bring it back. But Sarah, absolutely happy, saying let's freaking go. I mean, that was a dominant drive from incredibly done. And well, these are the drives that we are looking forward in races like this. But now I don't see any. Well, of course, any drivers in the interview. Of course, you have Sarah already waiting there. So far, let's have a look. Who else wants to be interviewed? There we go. The drivers have been notified. We have some drivers already joining the interview spot. So, of course, I just have to say, let's drag our race winner up in here. Sarah Mulfeitova, the driver of the day in my books, with a dominant drive, qualified, I believe, P6 and gone for the win. How do you feel?
I feel amazing. I did not expect that today. At the start of the race, I was just focusing on the people around me and just trying to get through. Then, when Icebrand spun in front of me, my objective was to just work with Andy. So for the first part of the lap, I wanted to stay behind and just charge my ERS for what I needed. But then I noticed that I was gaining on Andy in every corner, and I was just losing time in the dirt here. So I overtook him, and then my plan was to work with him the other way, just to give him DRS. But he was also losing too much time for that, so I did not want to just lift off for him. So then I just drove my own pace, and it just all went from there, really. And I did not think I would have this pace today compared to the rest of the field, especially when I was on the starting grid, just looking around me, seeing who I was competing with. It did not feel like this kind of pace was possible.
I mean, you had some immense pace, saying your own pace. You kept going. You were the fastest out on track, even on the hard compounds of tires for half the laps there. And Andy Park completing a 1-2 for Alfa Romeo. You guys must be spectacular. That pit box, champagne bottles must be popping. How does Andy Park feel? We're gonna drag him here as well, but how do you think he'll feel after this race?
Yeah, I'm sure you'll hear from him later, but I was with him on TeamSpeak, and he's absolutely ecstatic. And I don't think even he expected us to get a 1-2, because we, when you do a qualifying, that almost always gives you a little feeling about how the race is going to go, because people usually have similar pace in qualifying and the race on this game. However, it just didn't work out that way. People just weren't as fast as we expected, and even in the qualifying, even in the practice server, I thought I was off the pace, but apparently not.
Well, quite literally, we're not on pace with that final lap, giving you the fastest lap point as well, basically giving you a maximum amount of points this weekend. But now let's go to the questions. At the beginning of the race, there was a 4-way battle between you, Andy Park, Iswan Stopper, and Crow. Your objective there. What was your objective there during that 4-way battle?
Stay out of trouble and look for opportunities, because I knew I did not need to fight them. I just needed, because they were still fighting, they were still losing time to each other, so all I needed to do was just stick behind, get the DRS and charge my ERS for whenever I have an opportunity to overtake, and each time I did, I just dumped all of my ERS and just overtook, and that's all it really takes, because when they're battling, you don't need to waste your ERS at all.
We saw some cars having some issues with the rear end through Cobbs and through Maggots and Beckett. Was your setup also as unstable, or were you comfortable in that car?
I was not entirely comfortable. I was also in all of those corners. I was just lifting to be safe. And if any driver watches over the replay, they will see me lifting in every single one of those tricky corners, because I did not want to risk losing the rear end at all.
Were tire temperatures an issue with the rear end, or was it just the car being unstable altogether?
I think it was more just the bumps on the track being in unfortunate spots, really. There was one bump in Maggots on the right-hander entering Beckett's. On the apex, you really want to take off that apex to get the best speed, but there's also a really big bump there that can unsettle your car if you take it badly. So there I was always lifting, even when I felt like I had good tires. But yeah, pretty much all of the compounds overheated in this race. Just the C3s were the best in that sense. So I was really when I was doing the C3 stint at the start, I was just looking forward to the C2 stint, just because the tires were really not doing too well at that point, and especially the front left was screaming all the time, and the C2s also were a bit, at least overpressured, but they were fine on temperatures for most of the track.
With your final pit stop for the fastest lap, we saw the Mercedes of Crow going for the soft compound of tires. What gave you the thought to go into the medium compounds for the fastest lap?
Because okay, so in qualifying, I also went for C3s for most of the qualifying, because I found out that the C4s are not that much faster, because they overheat a lot, and once they're overheated, they lose a lot of grip. And especially towards the end of the lap at Stowe, for example, you can take so much more apex speed with C3 tires, just because the C4 tires are overheated a lot by that point. But in qualifying, the C4s were still, I think, marginally faster, but in the race, when I'm pushing even on my outlap, I don't have the time to save any temperature on the C4s, so I chose to go with the C3s.
That's interesting. Also, with Andy Park, you didn't have the puffer enough to stay in the lead. Was it planned that Andy gave you the position before the race end?
We did not plan that out. I was just hoping he would do that. And there was another reason, which he will surely tell you about once you drag him in here. But yeah, I just relied on Andy knowing that I'm pitting just for the fastest lap with no one behind to really challenge me. So yeah, I hoped he would let me by, and he did. Though I don't think it was for that exact reason.
Alright, that was my questions. You have a fantastic Friday. With a win like this and a 1-2, you fully deserve it. So have a splendid rest of your Friday, and hopefully we'll see next week another dominant drive from you.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good one.
Alright, next on the board, of course you have to drag Andy Park in here, the second Alfa Romeo after that 1-2. Andy Park, you guys have completed the 1-2 for Alfa Romeo. How do you feel?
Gentlemen, I'm feeling phenomenal. That was fantastic. The entire time I was on edge, because I was
Oh, bit of internet issues from Andy Park.
I had so many fast drivers around lap 1, And well, Sarah has been racing so much more than I have, so I trusted on her to pick up the pace. And then I thankfully managed to catch up to Icebrand, and then I had to just get in front of him. And since Sarah had the pace, I was like, I'll get in front of him, I'll defend, you just storm off, get lost, go away. And thankfully it worked, though I did defend a little bit more than I was comfortable with because of the tires. But yeah, fantastic.
Talk about the defense. A little bit of contact between you and Isbrand through left field while you were going side by side. Was there anything damage on the car that upset the car more, or was it just a slightly rubbing is racing moment?
If I'm completely dead honest, I don't remember any contact between us. I mean, I do, but that was I don't know the Kona names, so I do know we had some contact in the right-hander before the straight, before cops.
Yeah,
but I
that's
think
the
that
field.
was, there you go. That was way too small for me to notice. So I didn't really pay too much attention to it. I just thought about it as hard racing. I mean, of course, I have to extend my apologies if gave him actual damage. But yeah, I just thought about it as hard racing. My tires were gone anyway.
Yeah, we saw with that slide.
Yeah.
I asked this question to Sarah as well. And at the beginning, you guys were in a four-way battle between you, Sarah, Isbrand, and Crow. What was your mentality during that battle? Were you looking to gain positions, or were you more staying where you wanted to keep the car facing the right way?
Well, in the beginning, great question, by the way. Thank you. In the beginning, well, I did see Icebrand absolutely smash pole position, so I didn't approach the race thinking, okay, I'll win. No, I immediately thought, okay, this race is gone. New objective, P2, P3. So race start comes, when push came to shove, I actually caught up to him, and I started gaining on him, which is something I did not have on my plans to the same time. It was like 6 tenths faster than I was, so I was like, holy crap, I can do this. So I spoke with Sarah over the radio, and I was like, I've fought Icebrand way more times, so I'm gonna be like, I'll defend him, just storm off. And the main thing was just keeping my head cool and yes, winning. Well, defending, winning, not really because I didn't win.
But the 1-2.
P1. Yeah,
Of
P1.
course.
That was my objective.
Well, with the 1-2 of the Alpha Romeo, you guys managed. But more of a thing. In the final lap, when Sarah went for that pit stop for the fastest lap, was it planned that you gave her the position, or what's happened there?
No, that was not planned. I would have still gave her the position, regardless of the pit. But when I crossed the line, when I was about to enter the final lap, I checked my fuel count, and it told me that I had 0.6 laps remaining on the tank. So if I pushed, I would have not made it. So I had to coast on 8th gear for the entire last lap, and at the same time I had to keep Sebastian from not catching me too much, because if I get a penalty, it'll be like a 5-second, and that screw my P2. But with sweating bullets, I made it. So we completed the 1-2, and that is everything that matters. I'm satisfied.
That is a story to keep on to. Nearly losing a 1-2 for fuel. Well,
1,000%.
that is nice to hear. Well, I just have to say congratulations for the 1-2. Congratulations for the P2 as well. I believe the champagne bottles in the team box are popping right now. So I leave you to celebrate and have a fantastic Friday, and hopefully see you next week for a fantastic dominant race again for the Alfa Romeo drivers.
Thank you. You do have an amazing day. I'll be catching you all next weekend then.
Goodbye. So
Bye-bye.
Next driver we have to get Sebastian Crow is the P3 finisher. Of course, we need to get the P1, P2, P3. Sebastian Crow in that
hello.
Mercedes. What a race you had! Congratulations for P3 first of all.
Thank you.
I just have this question. In the first, I asked this to the other two, to Sarah and Andy Park as well. At the beginning, you guys were in a four-way battle between you, Sarah, Park, and Isbrand, what was your thought during that battle?
I was trying to, for me personally, I was really just trying to survive. When everyone were bunched up, I need to look into it. I had a lot of lag spikes and just bad performance. So I was really struggling to just kind of keep it going, and that also caused my spin later. I just couldn't really feel the car when my FPS was that bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were really fast as well, so they started pushing away eventually. I was so slow. And the C3s.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
Sarah drove really well, so congratulations to her, obviously.
Sarah did have a dominant drive here, but yeah, with that throwaway battle, it looked to me that you were struggling a little bit, but you kept up on them. But that spin, run us through us. What happened during that spin?
So
what led to it?
I was going into cops. I don't know which one you're talking about because I actually had two. One.
The first one that got you out of the four-way battle.
Oh yeah, that one. So that was what I would say would be the C3's fault for me for some reason. The C3s, they were just really bad on the rear tires in low speed. So I would just kind of turn in and it would just kind of snap. And at one time it just snapped in a sense where I couldn't catch it. It was just gone. So yeah, the C2s were so much better, so I regret starting on the C3s actually. For my own race.
Yeah, that was visible from your point of view. You were struggling. Many drivers are struggling with the C3. I heard. With also, was there also a bump that upset the car ever so slightly every lap or so?
It could be. This car is quite compliant on curbs. I didn't really notice anything special. The only really dangerous pieces are the AstroTurfs on the exit of Cops and Stowe. If you touch those, you're dead. That's how I spun around the second time where I actually hit the wall. Because I just ran a bit wide because I was lacking confidence in the C3s and I had bad FPS, so I just hit the AstroTurf and it just kills you immediately. But bumps and curbs was mostly fine, to be honest.
Run us through your catch-up race. You were down, I believe, at one point in 7th. How did it feel fighting your way back up the grid?
Yeah, so when I came back to the C2s, that's when I found my pace again. Those tires were so much better for me. So I was like 2 seconds quicker than Oli a lap, and then like 1.5 than Charlie. So I just got blasted through those two immediately. And then I think someone pit in front of me, and then I was P4. And no, P3. And then I had Andy and Sarah in front of me. And towards the end, I started catching Andy. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? It turns out he was lifting coasting like crazy. I don't know if he's told you, but he was almost running out of fuel. So I kind of regret pitting for the fastest lap. I obviously didn't know. So I thought that he would just go to the end, look normal. So I could just pit. Because if I hadn't pit, I would have been P2. So I'm slightly annoyed at myself for doing that now. But I couldn't have known. So I can't blame myself.
Yeah. Being told by Sarah that the C4s weren't good for the fastest lap as they overheated fast, were you just ignoring that, or were your tire temperatures better on your car?
For me, the problem was in quali, it's okay, because you have a slow out lap. While in the race, obviously, you're pushing constantly. And I hadn't really thought of that. So yeah, when I started my fastest lap, they were already overheated. So yeah, the C3s would probably have been better in the race. Not in qualifying though. So I think I maybe could have gotten it if I'd used C3s, but yeah, it's fine.
Well, still getting a P3 after a race like that, you just have to say that's impeccable from you. And probably you also will celebrate your podium position here. I believe you'll still be leading the championship after this, but you have to now look out. 2 fast Alfa Romeo drivers are now looking for that P1 spot as well. So I just gotta say, enjoy your evening, enjoy this podium position, and we will see you hopefully next week.
Yeah, thank you guys for commenting. I can't wait for Brazil. So yeah, I hope to hear you guys then as well. Thank you, and yeah.
All right,
have a good
enjoy
evening.
your evening.
All right. Yeah, see you.
Last driver, of course, driver and also server owner to interview is Ray Spider. Ray Spider, what a race from your side. Not quite the one that you were looking forward to, but still a good finishing position, I believe, in P8. How does it feel?
Yeah, horrible. That was the second time I jump started.
I saw that drive through. We saw that drive through.
Yeah, I might do that again next race, but yeah, and then I kind of forgot not to push because I went on the AstroTurf and then literally slammed into the wall at like 100 miles per hour. And for some reason, I thought I could drive a lap with red front and red rear. So, not the smartest. Yeah.
Yeah. Your teammate getting P3 though after a race that he had. Did he tell you what a race he had?
Yeah, he did. We were actually like in a call together talking through it. Although one thing he regrets was pitting to try and get fastest lap.
We heard that here as well, we've been told. How do you feel as his teammate after his finishing position?
I feel like Lance Stroll.
How does it feel being Lance Stroll? Run us through it.
Quite bad, to be fair. It's a bit embarrassing, I'm not even gonna lie. But like, at least I'm not crashing into other people, that's a plus.
Okay, leave it out.
hey, I didn't point fingers, but yeah, it's a bit annoying because it's like I have the pace and like typically I do have the consistency, but I just get that drive through or like I'm not in the zone to start the race and then that just puts the entire thing off. I mean, did you see the photo of my tires I sent in the chat?
I saw that. I even commented on that.
Yeah, 26 lap old C2s.
Whoa, that was probably very tough to drive on.
Very. Yeah. Dead, so. But don't worry, Interlagos, I will make sure to address all the problems and I'll actually wait, like, until, like, wait a solid second after the lights go out before actually driving. I don't
Very
get the
eager
jump
on
start.
the pedal.
Yeah.
Well, on the other side of the server though, the race went very well for many of our drivers here, and I believe this time no issues came across as far as I remember.
Oh, glad to hear. Thankfully, most things were sorted out this time, yeah.
It went nicely and smooth, so
Yeah.
hope for seeing more race weekends like this.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you.
Well, you still enjoy the time that podium position of a teammate. Of course, your team's still getting good points here. At least it doesn't end on a very bad note. So enjoy your evening, and we will see you next week in Interlagos.
See you next week. I'm
Have a good
going
one.
to Brazil.
We are going to Brazil.
No.
Have fun with your fumbles.
Right, that was. I believe we have two more, but it's going a bit out of our time now. I think we're gonna drag one more.
Should I drag Bronte and he's the next one? Okay.
We're getting the safety.
Get out of here.
We're getting the safety car in here. So, safety car, how was the race?
No, I'll say to car, he was racing.
Oh, it was racing. Pardon me. Wait,
Yep.
Yeah,
my apologies.
that's alright.
How was your race?
Yeah, no, it was good. I had fun. Yeah, I had a bit of a comeback, I think. Turn 1 wasn't that great. Turn 2 wasn't any better. Spun pretty much at the back of the grid. And I ended up at the highest point in 4th, so I'm not complaining too much. Yeah.
Well, how did that race just feel for you? So if the stream died? The stream's still running, I believe.
Yeah, no, the car felt good. The car felt consistent. It was a bit of lag on my end. It didn't help with wheel-to-wheel stuff. The tires, the temperature, getting them up to temp was a bit longer than I'd like. But once they were in that window, they were fine. Yeah.
With the C3 tire being said at the beginning, not the optimal compound. What did you say about that?
Yeah, I think if I could do it again, I'd probably start on the C2 and then go to the C3 after, just when there's a bit more rubber on the track, or I don't know, a bit more like you're in the rhythm of things, because it was very easy to over scrub the C3 at the start and just break it down. But yeah.
Would you be surprised to hear that you're not the first driver to say that?
Yeah.
To see if people, some drivers have regretted starting on the C3. But this is just good learning curve for the next race weekends. We might see some more thought out strategies, or maybe even more obscure strategies. But in the end of the day, this is just what racing is about. It's not just about going fast, but also having a good mind on your head to think of all times and all situations. Well, can you run us down what position you finished again?
Yeah, so I finished 6th. Yeah, I got up to 4th at my highest. I think I got overtaken by a Haas and a Red Bull, and I was alright defending for a tiny bit, but once they got past me, they just pulled away. I couldn't do much.
In the middle of the race, there was some midfield battle. I think you went there was a freeway battle with you involved, where I think you had a bit of a mistake there, losing you a bit of time. What was the battle? If I remember correctly, it was with you.
I think I had 2 battles. One was at the start, a bit further back in 7th or 6th, around there. That was right. I think a little bit of contact, nothing intentional, obviously. The lag was still there, made it a bit hard. And then I had another battle with the Haas and the Red Bull towards the end. Yeah, that was interesting. I was trying to keep with them. They're very quick drivers. Just overdrove a little bit, got a bit wide. Yeah, couldn't do much.
Well, finishing P6 with a competition like this is still very good and good points to your name. So I guess to say just have a still celebration after this. 2 good points like this are always good for the team. So I'd say have a fantastic evening Friday, and hopefully see you next week in Interlagos for an intense battle again. As these are what we love to see.
Absolutely, thank you. I'll see you there too.
Alright, I believe we have one last drive. I think we have Peter, yeah.
Peter was not racing.
Peter was not racing. He's in here. Oh, and he's gone out again. I believe that was it from our drivers.
Yes, I believe so.
That was it. So that was our top 3, Ray and Gibbs, in the commentary box for the interview. And I have to say, some good inside information again, as this is what we love to hear. And with that, I just have to say, it was a fantastic evening. And I'm going to have to say the goodbyes now. And we will see you all next week for Interlagos. Any last words, Alex?
Not really, no.
Well, then it is it. Goodbye, everyone.